Another, in my opinion, rather flagrant use of the move comes to us courtesy of Travis Bajent. He pulled the old javelin out of his bag of tricks in a match versus the notorious Michael Todd during the equally notorious, pseudo-cancelled WAL Finals of 2017. Although I think it's pretty obvious what Bajent was doing here, most of the online backlash went towards Michael Todd for his, in my opinion, pretty understandable outburst after the match. There have been others using this move, but in most cases, arm wrestlers in the public eye are smart enough to stay as far away from this one as they can. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday out there in the arm wrestling world. How you all doing? Welcome to the Arm Historian Live. Every Sunday, same time, same place. For a relaxing hour of everything arm wrestling. Let's use in chat. Sylvester, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Do his move. What's up? Chuck in the house. Hey, Chuck. What's up, man? Verber, how you doing? Missed you at practice yesterday, Verber. We had a good one, regardless. But yeah, definitely missed you. Let me turn down the music a little. The Chuck dude, how you doing? Good to see you, man. And the Claymore himself in the house. What's up, man? James Stewart. Welcome. Mr. Peanut, how you doing? Mr. Peanut, yeah, I'm extremely disappointed with all you guys. Because Mr. Peanut was the only regular that I saw in the chat when Matt Connolly was interviewing me. For those of you that don't know, I did an interview for a podcast named Arm Wrestling Tonight with Matt Connolly and Dave. Sorry if I'm blanking on your last name, Dave. And yeah, Mr. Peanut was the only one that was there, so very, very disappointed in all of you. Verber says, yo, from Kazazuri at Verber's house. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're training those arms. Maybe playing some darts too, right? Yeah, I saw Chuck. Thanks, man. It's all good. I was only joking, of course. It's an awkward time anyway. Matt Connolly is Australian, so it was like 10 a.m. for me. And I think a lot of people, especially over in the US, which the bulk of my viewers is from the US, were still asleep then. It was like the middle of the night for them. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at what's been happening in the arm wrestling world. There's a couple of things like going on with the whole Devin Gennady match and the aftermath of it that we can kind of take a look at. And I believe they started teasing matches for East versus West 17, which we've already talked about it before. I think Robert Baxter kind of leaked a lot of the matches, but now they're officially coming out, so yeah. Bob Anderson says, Matt streams at times that I always miss. Yeah, same for me. It's always in the morning and I'm busy doing something, and then yeah. Very rarely do I actually make his live streams myself, so can't really blame anyone. Boss Royale, how you doing? What's up, man? Good to see you. AJ in the house. I know I've looked at this name before, but I always forget how to pronounce it, but welcome anyway. It says, oh, hi man, you need to schedule and say to us 4 hours before the stream. Yeah, would you guys like me to announce it earlier? Usually I do it like an hour beforehand or something like that. I put a live stream on. But yeah, maybe I should just put it up like a week beforehand, right? Right after this one ends, I should already schedule the next one. Maybe. It's literally 2 o'clock at deep night. Ouch, that's painful, but thanks for being here anyway. It's about 9:30 where I'm at, so yeah. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, announce it 4 to 6 hours earlier because we love your streams. I appreciate it a lot, and yeah, I'll take that into account. Boss Royale says, new music, I see. It actually isn't. It's been around a while, but I think it's just because I left my music turned up a little more than I usually do, so... but yeah, I think I used this in one of my Rise and Fall videos first, so it's been in there for a while. Play Huma Huma, yeah, if I want my stream copyright striked, I'll do that. I appreciate you, Chuck. Chuck says, isn't it perfect hour to listen to this soothing speaking arm? I don't know how soothing people actually find my voice, or at least the graphic of my arm. I've heard some wildly different opinions on that. But I'm gonna grab Reddit here, because usually that's kind of the only... Well, sometimes I'm on Instagram, but never a lot, so Reddit is kind of... Reddit and YouTube are my main ways of staying up to date with like arm wrestling news. I guess YouTube more for the real news part, and Reddit more for the meme part. Although sometimes there's good information on there, so yeah. Let me turn my own music down a little. These drums are intense. There we go. Yeah, let's take a look. So you guys can follow along here. And there we go. Yeah, so it seems like East versus West has decided, and I don't know whose decision this is, to only let members see the full matches of their events. I think they're still releasing highlights, but I'm not quite sure on that. But yeah, it seems like they're finally doing it and putting the full matches behind an extra paywall on YouTube. I'd love to see what you guys think about this. I haven't really formed a good opinion on it yet, I feel like. On one hand, I can't really blame them for doing this. Kind of makes sense, and maybe I would do the same. But on the other hand, I don't know, is it maybe a little too early still? We kind of need these full matches, right? What do you think about Morozov versus Laletin? The match that they had? Closer than a lot of people would have thought. I'm very happy there. Yeah. If you wanna like hear more in-depth opinions on that, I did an entire review of like nearly every match. I skipped a few, but nearly every match on my last live stream. And that VOD should be on the channel. Boss Royale said, so it looks pretty much confirmed that Devin is facing Vitali. Let's go. That's awesome, yeah. Can't wait for that one. Bob Anderson says, Reddit, Skull. Yeah. I know what you mean. But yeah, I've been on Reddit for such a long time that I'm just glad there's an arm wrestling community there at all. Boss Royale says, also I've noticed Devin hasn't posted on his socials recently, which is surprising from him. Yeah. There's been a lot going on, it seems like tension behind the scenes, or at least people have been hinting at it somewhat. I don't know if I really think there's that much going on, to be honest, but there's kind of been some hints at that, right? Some tension between Devin and Engin. Dexter Tan, the new man. Yeah, I've been hearing about Dexter Tan more and more lately. So you're saying it's his decision, right, Jacobin? Chuck says, oh no, they really did it. Yeah, indeed. I didn't think they would actually do it, but yeah, there you go. Welcome, by the way, Jacobin, and a good afternoon to you too, man. Good to have you. I don't think Vitali is going to win if he doesn't train his flop press. Vitali will fumble easily, starting from the wrist. Yeah, I think that's an opinion that a lot of people share with you, although I don't know. I've seen about like the Devon versus Vitali match. I don't know, man. To me, it could be one of Devon's hardest matches, apart from Levan, from like the last 10 years or something. Boss Royale says, let's see if you come across my posts. Maybe. I'm not super active on the arm wrestling subreddit myself. I do post there once in a while. If it's like something that interests me, but I'm not really that active, super active. Tomer, how you doing? Welcome. Mr. Penis says, today's thoughts. Fia is the pound for pound champion of the world. As the only champion from East vs. West who holds both right and left-handed titles. Fia is undisputedly arm wrestling's pound for pound champ. Yep. I guess it would depend how high you consider the level of competition of East vs. West to be. If you consider it like the be-all and end-all, then yeah, for sure. But yeah, Fia also proved herself on plenty of other stages, so I'm kind of leaning to agreeing with Mr. Peanut, which happens quite a bit. Chuck says, I hoped it's only rumor that's so bad. Yeah. Boss Royale says, I think it's a disgrace. Greed, I say. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it feels kind of like they pulled the trigger on it a little too early. I don't know if they're at a level where they'll be able to sustain it in this way. I don't know. What is like the lowest tier of membership? Does anyone know? How much it actually costs to become a member or to watch this video? Although, it says members first, so I've never done one of those, but the fact that it says members first might point to them just releasing it to the public in a little while, right? Like members get to watch it for a week or something and only then does it get released to the public? That would kind of make sense, and I can't really fault them a lot for that, honestly. I've thought about doing something similar with my videos, like releasing it a day early for members or something. But I haven't had the patience. Usually when I've worked on a video for like weeks on end, I just want to get it out there and not wait another day. It's mostly a selfish decision on my part. AJ says, good match, Vitali can be hooked. It did look that way. It's very bad for me. Before the thing with Core Sports, I was watching East vs. West and King of the Table at one place. It's Russian film hosting like Netflix named Kinopoisk. Interesting, very interesting. I wasn't aware of that. So it's kind of a streaming service that has bought the rights to East vs. West, the rights in Russia or something. Interesting. Tomer says, imagine if Devon versus Vitali, Levant versus Hermes, John versus Kanai, and Dennis versus X is all gonna happen in one event. Yeah, it would be quite the event, right? But is Devon versus Vitali confirmed for East vs. West 17, or is it just like confirmed to happen sometime in the near future? Engin and Devon are like an old married couple. Sometimes it does kind of feel that way. Yeah, might be the case there, Chuck. Boss Royale says, I'm Possible Force on Reddit. I'm sure I've interacted with you at some point or another then, Boss Royale. Kinda rings a bell, that name. Chuck says, when I got into arm wrestling, the best part was discovering great matches from WAL, one after another being stunned for free. Yeah, and that's a very good point, right? That's a very good point. Because I think for a lot of people, these kinds of matches with a production value like this is the kind of thing that would get you hooked into arm wrestling. So, but like I said, it might be the case that they're just doing it members get an early look at it. Bosreal says, Arm Historian, can you reveal to us what Engin thought of your documentary on him? I didn't much care for it, I think. Yeah. I won't go into too much detail. Got nothing against Engin per se. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, right? You can read between the lines. Fazekas Alex says, there way too less competition in the women categories. We need more years to draw some conclusions. Yeah, I do agree with that too, although we just need more competition, right? We just need more people in women's arm wrestling indeed, so yeah, that's definitely a good point there. Chuck says about 3 to 4 euros. Okay, interesting. Yeah, indeed, I agree. If it's like members get to watch it early, I don't think that's that big of a deal. But if it's just the full matches are only viewable by members, then yeah, you might have a case in being a little pissed off at that. I'm gonna switch headphones really quick. One of my headphones died, so 2 seconds. There we go. I'm back. So yeah, I don't know. I'll just reserve judgment until I know for sure if it's members first or members only. Because right now, to me, it's looking like members first. That's what it says. So. Clearly says members first, so I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. And we can all get our pitchforks out if it actually happens. But until then, I would consider keeping them pocketed. Tomer says, I've already seen all the matches illegally through normal YouTube, and you didn't crack down on it this time. Kinda guilty about doing it, but I gotta do what I gotta do. Interesting, because you're right. They didn't crack down on it, and maybe it's like a transitional thing where before Core Sports kind of took care of all the copyright strikes and things like that. I don't know. I don't have any clue. I wish I knew, because I find those kinds of things, like those kinds of behind the scenes things, quite interesting, and I think they do have a real impact, but I have no clue why they didn't crack down on all the quote-unquote illegal videos out there this time. I'd love to ask Robert Baxter or Engin why. At Kinopolis, there was a stream of East vs West and King of the Table, and having access for the previous events and have access to a lot of Russian movies. Was paying $3 per month for everything. That's really cheap. But is it like a legit thing? Or is it not legit? Is it just like an illegal streaming platform, or whatever? Or is there just no regulation or something around it over there? Because I don't want to assume, but do you live in Russia? Do you actually... You don't have to answer that, of course, but is this a Russian service? That's maybe the better question. Chuck says, by the way, I don't know how many of you watched Arm Historian last video, but we would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, Chuck helped on my last video, so I'm also quite interested in hearing your thoughts on it. It's doing how well I thought it would be doing. I didn't expect a lot of views from this video, because, I don't know, I feel like these kinds of topics can often get really technical, and I think a lot of people just kind of tune out when that happens. That's just my opinion, though. So it's it's not performing like super poorly or something, but it's not performing great either. So yeah, I'd love some feedback on it if anyone's watched it. Bob Anderson says, I think Devon has a left-handed match next East versus West. Not sure who is pulling though. Interesting, okay. It looks like Devon is Vitali's next opponent. Can't wait for it, man. Really. Kinopoisk has a signed contract with Core Sports, so I had access to both of the events at Kinopoisk. And no, Kinopoisk is like Netflix, but Russian, plus access to some sports events. Okay, awesome. Thanks for expounding on that. Now I know. That's a really good prize then, for sure. Boss Royale says, so you've been in contact with Engin before? Yeah. Yeah. I've talked to Engin quite a number of times. Emo Hunter says, Engin is pretty tough to get along with. I bet money he and Robert will have a split at some point. As Devon says, leaks come and go. Yeah, I do think, especially, I'm not going to speak on your first points, but I do think on your last point, you definitely, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Leaks come and go. I think people sometimes tend to lose perspective on how many arm wrestling leagues we've actually had in our relatively short history, and how many of them have actually been quite popular. I'm not saying East versus West isn't the biggest league ever or something like that, because I kind of think it is right now. Like 16 going on its 17th edition, nothing to scoff at. I think that's great. But I think people tend to lose the perspective of we might not have East versus West forever, right? I think we've kind of need to come to terms that indeed leagues do come and go if enough time passes. So, which isn't to say you shouldn't support East versus West or want it to go away, because I think, like in a general sense, they're doing a great job. And especially since I've started watching arm wrestling, it's definitely the league that I've been invested in the most on a personal level. So we're getting the number of matches and the quality of matches we're getting is relatively unseen in the arm wrestling world. You know, there's been some short periods of time where you could argue there's been some great matches and a lot of them, but then I don't think quite at this scale, right? So yeah. Fatzekas Alex says, I don't find it bad that it's members first. It's one more way of making money, which will be reinvested afterwards. It will be open to anyone. Yeah, there you go. If it's members first instead of members only, I can only, I can't fault anything with it. Sylvester says, like the stream. Yeah, if you can, give the stream a like. I see we have like 9 likes and 27 of you in here. So if you can, it only takes a second. Gets the stream out to a couple more people, kind of caresses that sweet YouTube algorithm. Boss Royale says, cough if Engin didn't like the commentary. That was a laugh, that wasn't a cough, okay? No, I've spoken on it before in previous live streams. Engin wasn't that big of a fan of the video I made on him. I don't think that's some big secret or something. That doesn't mean you need to go after Engin and tell him like, how could you not like Arm Historian's video on you? It's just, I think he faulted me for portraying him in a less than positive way sometimes, which, you know, that's fair. People can do that. Although I think in general I was quite laudatory of the man, right? But yeah, he's entitled to that opinion for sure. Kinopoisk was one of the partners. Okay, interesting. Boss Royale says, because Engin spent more time blocking people than actually taking down illegal streams. I don't know, man. I don't think Engin is a... I know it's a joke, but I don't think Engin is personally like taking down a lot of streams. Maybe he is, but I'm sure they have a team for that, right? At least I hope so. Bob Anderson says, the rise and fall of Artyom Morozov. Is it too early for that? I've heard some people say like the rise and fall of Alex Kurdecha is another one that I've heard people mention to me. But yeah, I'm working on a big video right now with Chuck. But I definitely do want to get a rise and fall out to Because I feel like that's kind of the bread and butter of the channel, right? Roy says, Engin is the man. You all should be kissing his feet. No one is more dedicated to the sport mainstream than him. You all complain from your couch while he is in the front lines. Yeah, I definitely think it's not an easy job to a large degree. I think it happens very quickly that people lob a lot of commentary at you. So yeah, it's definitely not an enviable position in that way. And like I said, I do think East versus West is like the best league since I've gotten into arm wrestling. Chuck says everything in Russia needs to be dirt cheap because of big pirating scene. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Top Roll King says Engin is a big boss, the titan, the pillar of arm wrestling. Neil. I don't mind talking about Engin, but maybe we've said all there is to say on the man, right? Engin finally admits the refs were biased and wrong. Back on Engin. Open the arm wrestling subreddit. Back on Engin straight away. Boss Royale says, what's your opinion on Top 8? Did you watch it while it was around? Yeah, I did to a degree, but right at the end of it. And I kind of followed along with, like, because at a certain point, John Brzezinski and stuff was, I think it was even post-COVID or maybe by the start of COVID. There was like John Brzezinski was gonna pull in Top 8 too. Anyways, I did follow it to a degree. But yeah, I was around from like East versus West 1. I was already deep into arm wrestling then, so I didn't have that same thing with Top 8. Although I do have to say, the more I do research on videos I make on arm wrestling's history, the more I kind of feel myself getting sucked into the storyline of those kind of leaks too that I missed. Engin is the #1 fan of arm wrestling, says Sylvester. That might be the case, yeah. Chuck Kinopoisk signed with Core Sports, so when East vs. West broke the contract with Core Sports, they no longer had access. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Bob Anderson says Engin would get a lot less hate if he just chilled out and smoked a joint. Now that is advice I think can apply to a lot of people there, Bob Anderson. I do agree. Top Roll King says my mother loves Engin, not only for arm wrestling, by the way. Doesn't matter how much you hate Engin, and there is a lot of reasons to do so, but I think it's very rare to actually give credits to old legends, says Chuck, and focus much more on the sport than on the show. I wouldn't want our sport to transform into a circus with a table in the middle, like, let's say, celebrity boxing galas. Yeah, I've talked about this for quite a bit on previous live streams. I think it's a hard line to tread, but I think we need to like try to tread it anyway, right? I hear like people advocating for like ultra purism, quote unquote, in the sport, and I don't know if we're at a level where we can go for the ultra purist approach. I think you need to get some people in first, right? There is some truth to that. Now, does that mean turning your league into a circus? Of course not. That's the other far end of the spectrum, right? That's the other extreme. But I think there is a way to kind of walk in the middle of those two extremes. Roy says, how do you know he didn't like it? About my video? I actually talked to him quite a bit about it. No, Boss Royale, no. And like I said, I'm not an Engin hater. I'm pretty clear on that, and I've been very clear on that. I love East vs. West. I love King of the Table. I go out of my way to promote those events and to recommend them to anyone. So definitely don't like misconstrue me as an Engin hater. We had a disagreement on the nature of my video on him. I think I was very... how do I say this? I think I was in general very positive towards Engin and what he had done and his career, and portraying him as one of the greatest arm wrestlers of all time, right? Which I genuinely, I do still believe that. And Engin didn't really see it that way, I think, as far as I can tell from the way we interacted. He didn't... I believe he felt like I portrayed him in a negative way in the video. Well, I don't think I did that. That's basically what it comes down to. And it's not like we're arguing or we're like hating each other or something. That's not the case at all. But yeah, that's just the truth of it, the long and short of it, basically. Mr. Peanut says East vs West is poised to be the business professional entity of WAF cash flows from Dubai AIMS, Sport Accord, World Combat Games, Tourism and Government Infrastructure dollars are at stake. Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because if someone makes a video on that, I think it would get like 500 views. Like, people don't care about stuff like that. At least within the arm wrestling world, as far as I can tell. People don't really care that much. Bob Anderson said, I only said rise and fall of Artyom Morozov because of his injury, not his performance. Fair enough. The rise and fall of ARM historian, says Hariom Notoprol Paradox. Or, no, Hariom Notoprol says Paradox, the rise and fall of ARM historian. No, it's quite apt. I think you can make a video. I've always been planning this from the start, and I've said this multiple times. I want to make a rise and fall on ARM historian and just go over all the things I got wrong, because there are details that I get wrong in episodes of the rise and fall. So definitely it will exist at some point. Hariom Notoprol. Or should I call you Hariom Notoprol Paradox from now on? Jacobin says Engin banned me from the couch. That I need to get to training. Okay. That's a worthy ban, right? I would say that's a positive one. The Chuck Dude says, what's the difference between King of the Table and East versus West? I think the difference is getting smaller and smaller every event. But basically, I think the conceptual difference from the start was that East versus West would be more matches and kind of matches for rankings, seeing who's the best, big title matches, and King of the Table would also have big title matches, but would be more a select few matches and would also include like influencer matches and stuff like that, you know? Just matches that people want to see, basically. That was always how conceptually I kind of kept them apart in my mind, you know what I mean? So to me that's the main difference between the two, but I do admit that recently that difference has kind of become smaller and smaller, and I think they're basically growing towards becoming the same. Yeah, like Chuck said here, Engin actually admitted that the rest weren't fair, but he said he tried to correct them. Indeed, I saw a part of his video that he put out. Levon Slayer, what's up, man? Says Engin Buzzgill Thursday, no jokes allowed. Yeah, he runs his live stream chat how he wants to. I run mine how I want to. White Wolf says leaks, especially those with contracts, are similar to syphilis or other STDs. They irritate you and cause you to break out, and they hang around long after you wish they would go away. Yep. So you're basically saying we should inject some heavy antibiotics into these leagues, right? White Wolf, welcome by the way. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Welcome. We're not planning to fall in the near future, yeah. Not in the same way anyways. What do you guys think? Who wins, Jean Brezink or Yoshi Kanai? I think Yoshi might have this, I don't know. What do you guys think of a match between Brezink and Todd Hutchings? How would that go in your minds? Like, who wins there? Is it an easy match? Like an easy victory for Todd? Top Row King says Engin needs to do 24-hour stream marathon on meth. Now there's an idea. Maybe you should write a formal email suggesting as much. Top Row King to Engin. Sylvester says, do you know the roster of Winter Blast? No, not by heart, Sylvester. Good matches on there. Roy says, I think East vs West will become like MMA. That level, it's bound to happen. Gonna be huge, selling out arenas. I hope so, man. I hope with all my heart that will happen. Really, I do. Levant Slayer says Engin on meth would be a bad idea. Yeah, although that would probably go for most people, right? I don't think that's an Engin exclusive thing. Necessarily. Mr. Peanut says WAF Paralympics are the anchor to collect government dollars cash support for para-athletes in armed sports. And that controls government subsidies in non-capitalist economies. Yeah, and it's interesting because a friend and me talked about this a couple of days ago. Like, how big are the the WAF Paralympics classes? How big are those classes actually? And how are they divided? Because I know so very little. I should know all this, but like they're divided in different ways, right? I think there's a lot of classes, like Paralympics classes at WF, if I'm not mistaken. But Pharrell says, I don't hate at all. I think he just needs to quell his ego a bit. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people could do with a little less ego in arm wrestling. Probably including me, I don't know. I'm including myself in arm wrestling, so... Harimo Topro says, hey yo, what the heck with that Reddit post on Rising? Oh shit. I didn't even see that was on the page the entire time. Hope YouTube doesn't mind. Let's just slowly scroll past that. Thanks for pointing it out, Harimo Topro. Jacoby says, Engin, a great character in arm wrestling lore. Indeed he is. Yeah, you can fault arm wrestling for a lot of things and like the influencers or the top guys in arm wrestling, but you gotta admit there's a ton of characters in our sport, a ton of like very eccentric, very weird people that I think deserve their own like dope or something. Engin just needs to continue doing what he's doing and ban the haters. I don't know. Just from a personal perspective, Roy, it takes a lot for me to ban someone. And I don't think it's necessarily a good look for like the founder of a league to be banning people based on their comments on YouTube. You know what I mean? You should have a team doing that. If someone is actually out of line. But yeah, he definitely has like... He can do whatever the fuck he wants, right? He can ban whoever he wants, so... I don't think he really... Yeah. Are you a media ambassador of East vs West? Yes. At least I believe I am, and I was amongst the first to announce to be, so... I talked to Engin about it, like with voice messages. Or I think we even called about it. So yeah, I am one officially, I think. Roy says you were pretty objective in the video. On Engin? Yeah, I try to be. I try to be, really. The more I've researched, it seems Igor was more tyrannical than Engin. Yeah, Igor definitely had a ton of issues too, for sure. Mr. Peanut says Arm Historian video on Engin is raising eyebrows in arm sports community. Really? In like the Eastern part? Or is that just a general subtitle you're you're making. Maybe it's a new title for my Engin video. Maybe it'll get a bunch more views, because that's another thing, right? I spent like a month and a half working on that video. I think it's a video that's like 33 minutes or something like that. So it's a really deep dive on Engin. And I don't know, I don't even think it's at 10k views. It did really poorly for the amount of time I invested in it, so it wasn't even worth all the trouble around it. In the end, it was a totally bad call to make that video, I think. Levon Slayer says, I just can't wait for the next delusional Ryan Bowen episode from Arm Wrestling Bible. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like with Ryan doxing him, I don't know if there's gonna be another one. Mosreal says, I read some comments that claim Levon never earned a cent from Top 8. I don't know how true that is, though. That would be hard to believe, but I have heard similar things from other athletes that participated, that sometimes they had a hard time getting paid in that league. Whether or not that's actually true, that's not for me to decide, right? But I did hear some people say similar things. The rise and fall of Levon. That might still be some time away. Kirill is slightly better than Levon. Yeah, okay, that's what that was in reference to, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Kirill is the new number 1 now, right? That's indeed what the data shows, Roy. Devin's Forearm in the house. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. What's up? Todd Rocking says, did you discuss Yoshi versus John? Any prediction? We briefly touched on it. I asked people if they thought Todd Hutchings versus John would be a good match. Because Todd Hutchings had a hard time with Kanai, right? So I think they're relatively close, probably. Todd still probably being a little better, of course, but I think they're relatively close. And if Yoshi has been training hard and getting back into things and kind of has shaken the rust off in his Todd match, then I think he has the potential to do really well versus John, which will be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people if it actually goes down like that. Hey, Kazazuri, what's up, man? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. One of my training partners in chat. Mr. Peanut says, the prophecies of Ryan, an in-depth inspirational guide to how misplaced faith is critical to a career in arm sports. Yeah. That's actually really good, Mr. Peanut. Basorial says, Brezink already lost to Todd last year, I think. Yeah, he did, right? You're right. They actually did. I forgot about that completely. AWC. Yeah. Yeah, so probably Kanai has this then? Like, what other conclusion can I come to, right? Kanai should be the favorite in this match then, I'm assuming. Maybe their style is that much different that kind of Brezink has Kanai figured out already. I know when they met before, Brezink won like almost all of them. I think Kanai has like 1 win over Brezink. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Some of you probably know better, but I think like Brezink won most, if not close to all of their previous matchups. Roy says, bro, I think Yoshi is too much for John. I have not seen John with that kind of endurance. Yeah, might be the case now. Chuck says, public letter to Engin about taking hard drugs for the sport of arm wrestling. Count me in. There you go. Bob Anderson says, if John can gain hand control and press Kanai quickly, then he can win. Yeah. But is John still... Like, when do we see John doing those things lately? We rarely ever see John doing those kinds of things anymore, right? Yeah, I don't know. That's great. Godzilla, big brain. I love Arm Wrestling is Fun, aka Al Omega Rich. Great artist. Levance Slayer says, nah, I think Alex Kurdecha could benefit from meth. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Maybe he'll lose his job because of meth addiction and then he'll have all the time in the world to focus on arm wrestling. Boss Royale says, do you think Larry Wheels helps to revive arm wrestling during the pandemic? Yes, partly. Partly. Definitely. We owe a great debt to Larry Wheels, I feel. Also to Juji Mufu. For sure. MO Hunter says at minimum East vs West will be renamed. It really doesn't make sense long term to use that criteria to set championship matches. It will mean less overtime. Yeah, it's kind of an awkward name now, I agree, but on the other hand, I don't know. It's also catchy to me. So yeah, hard to tell, but I wouldn't mind if they changed it. Levance Slayer says everyone I know in real life who casually likes arm wrestling knows about it because of Larry. There you go. Hey, Power Nick in the house. How you doing, Power Nick? I think Power Nick, a relatively new channel, making arm wrestling news. How you doing, Power Nick? Chuck says, have you seen Talking Arm Man anywhere else? Have I seen a Talking Arm Man anywhere else? AJ says, how did Devin's head get bigger? Yeah, crazy, right? Hey, Tugalicious, how you doing? What's up, man? Gateway Arms says Engin should disappear from the camera and any public relations. You could argue that. You could argue that. At the end of the day, like I said, right, he does what is league, whatever the hell he wants to, so. Masorial says, I have a feeling a civil war will ensue in arm wrestling due to Engin. That's quite dramatic. I don't know. Yeah, that's a dramatic view of it, maybe. Another video idea, arm wrestling organizers included, tier list. Yeah, good idea, man. Although I feel things like that might be better served for a live stream. But that's actually a really good idea. But I think like a live stream with a guest or something, that would work really well on something like that. I don't know about a video. I've tried doing those kinds of videos before. And in my past experience, they didn't really do that well. But maybe there's some angle we can take that it would do better. Mr. Peanut says WAF Paralympics has the lowest bar for qualifying arm historian. This is why the bans were initiated against Igor in the first place. Bans 100% to protect WAF business, access to Olympic Committee. And that's a fact, says Mr. Peanut. Yeah, to be honest, and I've said this before, I started with research on a WAF video and kind of all the politics behind the scenes and stuff, and it's one of those videos where the potential fallout just isn't worth the very tiny amount of views that kind of video will give to my channel, you know what I mean? Like, I think a video like that would get a couple thousand views and then just drop dead. So it isn't really worth it for me. Boss Rail says, is Ryan still even relevant anymore? Well, it depends who you ask, right? Ryan Bowen has a big following. Heavy is the crown on the King of Devin's Troll army. White Wolf says, sorry guys, at work, scarcely time to text here. All good, White Wolf. We feel your ever strong presence here, regardless of whether you type in chat or not. Todd versus John is a bad match. Todd will win. I think John will have a big problem with Yoshi, just because John will need a very good shoulder and flop press, and John has big problems with his shoulder. Yep. Still, my heart believes John will miraculously flop press him easily to the pad. One can hope, right? Although I'd love to see Yoshi doing well and actually continuing on the scene. I think Japan is one of those countries where there's a big, like a giant well of untapped potential we kind of need to reach in some way, right? And I think Yoshi might be the key to that. Ben 600, how you doing? Peace, man. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hariam Notopero says, my dream match, Hermes versus John, both 21 years old, 95 kilograms. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I think John would take it. But yeah, I'd love to see that match too. Bob Anderson says, imagine East versus West being renamed WAF versus IFA. Well, that's the kind of world I want to live in personally. Just for the memes. Zelkio Velkovic, I'm sorry, I butchered that name. Thank you so much for subscribing. Means a lot, man. Mr. Peanut says, Ryan is relevant to everyone who hopes to earn dollars or a living in arm sports. Get up 6 a.m. and treat arm wrestling like your job. He has been all over the world making own way in sport with no clear path to success. Especially that last sentence. You had me in the first part. No, but I do hear what you're saying, Mr. Peanut, and yeah, you have to appreciate the hustle, right? Hey, Henry in the chat, how you doing, Henry? Good to see you talking about the hustle here. And Henry pops up in chat. Welcome, man. Chuck says, Neil is starting live in a bit over 20 minutes. Maybe we get the Titanic out and I call in 10 minutes or so. Yeah, you can if you want to talk about the iceberg for a little bit, Chuck. I'm gonna wind down the stream first. Henry says, I prefer it short so far. I haven't seen your hair yet, Henry. God damn. Levant Slayer, I don't think that's the fake Henry, although I could be mistaken, but I think that's the real one. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Good to see you, man. The army is indeed growing, Chuck. Storm says, Henry, do you have any footage from the Georgian gym you went to with Brad? Love to see that too. Bachos and Nugo's gym. Top Troll King says, Engin needs to hire a kawaii Turkish girl to do interviews. She will giggle and don't understand anything. Perfect. Okay, so now we know what heaven looks like for Top Troll King. Thank you for that very vivid image. Okay, Chuck kind of mentioned it, and I think it's a good way to kind of end the stream on this, because it is quite possibly the next video that we'll be releasing, although kind of because of the scope of it, I might want to release another video in the meanwhile, just to keep the content going a little bit, so it doesn't take another month for me to upload another video. Hey, Crystal Dumas, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it. We're slowly crawling our way up to 10,000 subscribers, which, you know, that's still crazy, right? Sometimes I think to myself, we still haven't hit the 10,000 and this channel is like not growing, stagnating, all these kinds of things. But then again, like 10,000 subscribers when I started this channel, I would have never imagined we would even come anywhere close to it. So, yeah. It is, at the end of the day, I'm really grateful to all of you for your support in any way, whether it's just through a subscription or hanging out with me here in chat. I really appreciate it. I still think Vitali will lose to Devon because Vitali relies too much on his one hit. One with top roll stops Vitali's wrist, fumbles very quick, and as we know, Devon is professional at stopping. Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you there. Let me quickly set up a meets link for you here. And then I'll pull up the iceberg illustration. We've showed this before on stream to you guys, but we'll go over the concept really quickly. If you guys give me a second here. I'll send it over in Discord, Chuck. You can hop on whenever you want. So yeah, Chuck, a channel member who's graciously offered to help me out with some research and some like getting everything set up for some videos I'm working on. Also came to me with the idea of making an iceberg video on arm wrestling. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concept of iceberg videos, but it's kind of a deep dive into arm wrestling lore and history and stuff like that, and memes and all kinds of arm wrestling cultural stuff, right? Here, I think Chuck is calling in. Give me 1 second, man. Hey Chuck, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Let me quickly adjust some settings here so that people can hear you too.
My voice is better today, I think so.
Awesome. Hang on. Yeah, I think people should be able to hear you now along with the music.
Hello.
Yeah. I see you showing up here on the audio monitor. So yeah, welcome Chuck. Chuck straight from chat, jumping into the live stream here.
Hello everyone.
There you go. I like Hermes when he's commentator because of his very funny accent and his broken English. Something like he must do that press. Yeah. I do agree Hermes is quite funny on commentary for sure. So yeah, let's talk about like the next big video that's going to release and that we're working on. If not that video, I'll release a shorter one in the meanwhile. But hang on, I'm checking, Chuck, if I still have the illustration you sent me. I think I'll be able to dig it up here in Discord.
You can get the sheets out too. I think it's not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There's not bad information there.
No, Chuck, you're giving away precious secrets here to people. No, I'll pull out the sheet. Why not? So yeah, basically what we're doing is collecting as much. Well, I'll just show you guys. I think it's better to illustrate it with the sheets form here. There you go. Chuck and I have been working on kind of aggregating a whole bunch of arm wrestling lore, factoids, like memes, all kinds of things you can think of in relation to arm wrestling. So yeah, we've been kind of looking at that, and maybe you guys have some good input to to help us accomplish more of it, right? Get some more topics on there.
Yeah, and I forgot we need some videos of Captain Biceps.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, you can also help with getting some footage for us, I think, is what Chuck means here, right?
Yep.
Looking for some footage.
It appeared and
Yeah.
it's hard to find any proof of him existing now.
There you go. So, yeah, join the Discord if you're interested in helping us with this. I think that's the easiest way. You can also message me on any of my social media, of course. But I think Discord would be the easiest way. Chuck is also there quite often, so he'll also be able to kind of respond to you if he's there. Yeah. And maybe come up with some other ideas, right, on what to include. Let's see. Mr. Peanut, my comments are entered into public domain, may be reused. All or part of it. Documentation, references, footnotes can be provided. There we go.
I think we could put Mr. Peanut into the iceberg.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Maybe we can include Mr. Peanut there. Really deep somewhere. Although you are around in every live stream that I ever see, Mr. Peanut, so possibly you're at the top level of the iceberg. So yeah, guys, basically that's the idea of the video. That's the concept of the video. Kind of the deeper you go into the video, the further along you are in the video, the deeper the topics are as far as like obscurity within the arm wrestling world goes. So if you're like a really surface level fan and you know about like the real surface level things of arm wrestling, that's like the start of the video. Like arm wrestling as a professional sport, arm wrestling styles, Over the Top the movie, Schoolboy, Kimbo69, Arm Wrestling Whisper, those kinds of influencers, stuff like that, is kind of what you can expect from the top level of the iceberg, right? And as you go deeper, you see other stuff like Game of Arms here, the King's Move. You go even deeper. You see what made arm wrestling popular in the East, like some other more ethereal concepts like the arm wrestling triad, fully fair strap, aka the Devon strap, and so on and so on.
The space program.
Yeah, until you get to really deep things that are like really out there, right? So yeah, that's basically what the concept of the video is. It's a daunting undertaking. So far, it's been overwhelming at points, I think. I don't know how you feel, Chuck, but sometimes it's hard to, with that many different topics, it's hard to focus sometimes. Yeah, I think it's difficult sometimes to focus. Do you believe in Bigfoot, says Boss Royale? I do not. Yeah, I don't know about Chuck, but I don't personally.
I've seen one playing on saxophone.
Ah, there you go. Okay. So there is some musical evidence from Chuck there for the existence of Bigfoot.
I will send you later.
That's good.
I kind of forgot that I watched that for some time.
But there you go.
A chill species of Bigfoot.
Yes, very. I think.
I heard I hate that.
Yeah.
I was told that I sound like German.
Ah, you were told you sound German. Maybe I can hear it a little.
I believe by Master Bike.
Yeah. White Wolf says I can imagine that Chuck had a Midwest redneck accent and wearing a cowboy hat, but now I'm rethinking Eastern European might be closer to the truth. Closer, but not necessarily on the nose. I don't know, that's for Chuck to reveal to you guys. Ariam Notoprol says that is coming from a talking hand. Yeah, that's true though. Maybe I should believe in Bigfoot, right? I'm advocating for people to believe in human hands, talking hands, so maybe I should kind of advocate for Bigfoot too. Kind of got me there, Ariam Notoprol. But yeah, if you guys are all interested in helping out with this video, I would greatly appreciate it. It's also a good way to get a topic that you're really interested in featured in one of my videos. So yeah, help us out if you want. Join us in Discord or shoot me a quick PM on Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, that would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, anything will be great.
Yeah, indeed. Any contribution would be awesome. Chuck and I are working on it behind the scenes until then. And yeah, I don't know, I've set crazy goals for releasing this video before, but I've come to the conclusion that it's just gonna take a really long time. So yeah, I have no clue yet on the exact date on when it's gonna be released or anything like that, but we'll get it out to you as soon as possible. Mr. Peanut says Cobra will certify that I am a certifiably insane and full of useless information. The certifiably insane part, yeah, is something I can definitely attest to already, even knowing you as little as I do, Mr. Peanut, so. And that's a compliment, by the way. Boss Royale says, if a person was Bigfoot, it would be Vitali because of his height, or Levan because of the hairiness, right? Yeah, I can definitely see those two getting closest to being Bigfoot-esque. Yeah, Chuck, I don't know, man, if you want to say anything else on the iceberg video, or if you want to go into a little more detail on that front.
Once again, if you have any information, everything we want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, for sure, indeed. Hit us up. You're more than welcome, I'll say it again, on Discord. Join us there. Actually, quite a bit of people are joining lately. I don't know why people are suddenly stumbling on the Discord again, but yeah, hit us up there. Community is growing, and we'd very much appreciate your help with this. In the meanwhile, we've come close to the end of the stream. I see the fix is starting here in a couple of minutes, so after the stream, definitely make your way over there and tell Neil the Arm Historian sent you. And yeah, Chuck, thank you so much for jumping on. I'll definitely be talking to you behind the scenes more on Discord.
Okay.
And yeah, thanks again, man, for helping with this.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Bye bye.
Yeah,
Bye
bye.
everyone.
Bye, Chuck. See you next time, man. There Chuck goes, and there I will go very soon. Thank you so much, guys, for being here today. It was kind of a tiring day. Not the greatest day ever, I gotta admit. Now that there's less people here, I can freely say not the greatest day ever today. But I greatly appreciate you for giving me a good end to the day. And being here with me talking about arm wrestling. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate every single one of you, and hope to see you again, same time, same place, next week for another Arm Historian Live. But until then, Arm Historian out. Bye-bye, guys.